I just was out of alignment, you know? I always say to people, my clients these days, I'm like, anxiety and depression is just telling you where you're misaligned. Like our natural state is alignment, flow, harmony, gratitude, bliss. I call it God's realm of creation. Like when we're living in God's realm and we're in alignment with our truth and our true spirit, like anxiety is not a thing. Depression is not a thing. But I was always doing this work, like in the transformation space as a coach, as a therapist with people. But my own initiation happened as a single parent with my son. And then the quest that it pushed me on to say, I want a cycle break. I don't want to repeat patterns. I don't want to carry the wounds. I don't want to pass on the wounds. I want to do better for him and for me. And that has led me to where I am today.
Welcome to another episode of The Rooted Founder. I am beyond excited. Actually, I'm probably more rooted for this conversation than anything because I get to have a deep reflective conversation with a dear friend of mine, Adele, who is not just an incredible entrepreneur, but she also is a deep reflective soul and is building something from her divine assignment, not just from her achievement or pride or recognition or bigger, better, more. And so we're going to dive into the power of the pause and how she takes intentional pauses and almost an unintentional pause at one point in her life that helped her install an intentional pause into her everyday calendar and everyday life and everyday business. So Adele, I'm so excited to have you.
I'm so excited to be here. I feel like it's noteworthy. First of all, when you said, I just got chills when you said she's building from her divine assignment. Oh, like that's a book title right there. I'm just going to drop that in there. I mean, I have so much to say, but I think it's noteworthy even stays for us to say like how we met, like just not that long ago, but it was like two souls colliding that were meant to meet. And when you called me a reflective soul, you know, I think that's the mirror that I saw in you. Like there was a depth, like, you know, most people meet and they're like, well, let's like talk about the weather. And it's like, we went right to like core wounds and like trauma and like, let me tell you my whole life story. But I think when you do meet that soul connection and we're part, you know, you're on this path of, you're in your divine assignment for sure. And I am too. And you meet at these like different thresholds of life. And it's now we've come together in so many different ways. We're doing some cool stuff behind the scenes together. And it's like, we're in this expansive phase. And I just feel really, I just wanted to start by saying, I feel so grateful that we've met. And like, you know, when I went to Austin where we met, I think I told you this, I was really craving female anchored rooted relationships that were growing at the level that I have, because I do believe that I see my clients tell me this all the time, like, oh, it's lonely at the top. And I've reflected on that a lot because it can feel lonely when you're ascending and everyone else is like not going with you, or most people are not, can't stay at that altitude, don't want to go at that altitude. So then it's like, who do I need to be and meet at this new level that I can feel connection with? And I felt that with you and a group of the women that we met there. And I'm just really grateful. Yeah.
I feel all of that. And for me, the journey was the courage to live in the gap. Mm-hmm. So there's the identity that you have. Then you're on this threshold of something new where you get to ascend into a higher altitude. Yeah. And there's a gap. There's a period where you really are cocooning and it's an individual journey. Mm-hmm. And no one can get in the cocoon with you. You just have to go through that evolution and trust that on the other side, you're going to get wings and you're going to start flying and you're going to meet other soul tribe people that can actually fly with you and grow with you and explore with you. And I feel like we did find that in Austin with each other, which was just such a gift.
Yeah, such a gift. I love it. Yeah.
So let's actually talk about the journey to getting to the point you're at now.
Yes. Oh. It's so funny when people are like, share your story. And I'm like, I feel like I've lived 100 stories. You can relate.
Yeah.
I feel like I've really come to recognize, I love the metaphor of the cocooning and the transition and the metamorphosis, because I believe that I think, depending on your own divine incarnation, like I believe that my this like the speed at which I transcend and transform, it's just getting faster. So like when I think about myself 10 years ago, it was like it felt like nothing had changed forever. And then when I started to go on this journey, which I'll share more about, it's like now it's like every week I'm different. Every day, every moment I'm just like, oh my God, something different, something shedding, something evolving. And so there's like this almost like a cadence that keeps accelerating. And so it's about, for me, not getting too attached to who I was and not getting too attached to where I'm going. And it's like living in that gap, to your point, like living in the gap, living in the duality. I know we're going to talk about that today. But I think like when I think back on my story, without going back to like the day I was born, saving people 44 years, it really, when I really think about when I met God, because I didn't believe in God before. So when I got pregnant with my son, who's now 9, I would say that, so 10 years ago, is when I really had my first big initiation. I think before that, I was running a business. I was pretty successful by, let's say, ran standards of success. Like I had a great career. I went to great universities. I was accomplished. All the things, like you say, like the diplomas on my wall. But my soul and spirit were empty. And when I think back to who I was 10 years ago, I actually just have so much compassion for that version of myself. Like she was so insecure, Stace. I was in a lot of toxic, abusive relationships, never physically, but I would say emotionally, psychologically. I was the savior complex. So it's like, if I was basically like, if you're fucked up, come find me. I will rehabilitate you and it all will be well.
Yes, you were the foster girlfriend.
Fuck, I was the foster girlfriend. That's actually a great way to say it. And that it took, I did a lot of work on myself. I've done a lot of work on myself for the last decade and even before that. But I kept attracting into my life, it's always a mirror for who you're being, where you are in your own mind. But very, very toxic relationships. I felt very insecure. I was drinking um to numb. Like I wouldn't call myself an addict, but I think I was using alcohol in an addictive kind of a way. And I just was out of alignment. I always say to people, my clients these days, I'm like, anxiety and depression is just telling you where you're misaligned. Like, we're not meant, like, our natural state is alignment, flow, harmony, gratitude, bliss. Like, I call it God's realm of creation. Like, when we're living in God's realm and we're in alignment with our truth and our true spirit, like, anxiety is not a thing, depression's not a thing. But I was depressed, I was anxious, I was self-medicating with alcohol, men, sex, like all the things. And I got pregnant with my son. That's a story for another day. And I became a single. I was with the person I got pregnant with for a little while, but became a single mom at 3 months when my son was 3 months old. And I think that's when my knees hit the ground for the first time, because I was like, how did I get this so wrong? Like no girl grows up in her little princess dress being like, I want to be a single parent and in abusive relationships and all the things. So I think it was the first time that I prayed. And the reason I think that's significant is like I'm born and raised Jewish, and I have never been religious, but like I never connected to God. I think you and I talked about this in Austin, like when people would say, God, even the word God or Jesus or whatever would really trigger me. Like I was like, oh, like this just feels so icky. And around this time my son was born, I started mentorship with a few different people. I had a spiritual mentor named Sabrina. I still have to this day a business mentor named David, and they started to unpack what God is in a way that I was like, oh, I can digest this. Like I can get behind this. Okay, God's laws, the laws of the universe, like the energy that is the oneness that we are. I'm like, I can get behind that. Okay. And I started to, bring God into the creation of what I was doing, like recognizing that I don't have to do this all by myself, if that makes sense. Like I'm co-creating. And I felt maybe for the first time supported enough to be able to do the deeper work and unpack all the core wounds and imprints and beliefs that I had around motherhood, around being supported versus doing everything on my own. Like how I came to manifest the exact situation that I had with my son, that I did it all by myself. So it was like my first initiation was like, it's where I woke up being a mom. I said this to my son, actually, it's going to make me tear up, but on every year on his birthday, I always say, your birthday is the day that I was born again. It's like if you see me pre motherhood to now, it's like I grew 18 lifetimes. And I think my son and any, parent maybe listening to this can understand, like there is an initiation that happens where when you bring another soul into this life and you have that mirror reflection of like, oh, I was a baby once and like I was whole, perfect and complete. And when I was doing my own healing work, I would like hold my little baby and like pour all this love into him and just be like, oh my God, I was that baby. Like it became so much easier to heal in relation to him, because I think this is a gap that people feel in the healing space as someone that does healing work. It's like sometimes we have such low self-esteem and low self-worth that we don't even feel worthy of the healing. And then when we bring a baby into this world and we love that child more than anything and we want to protect them more than anything, it's so much easier to like come into contact with, oh, this child is whole, perfect, and complete.
Yeah.
I was whole, perfect, and complete. So that's a big part of my story, where I was always doing this work, like in the transformation space as a coach, as a therapist with people. But my own initiation happened as a single parent with my son. And then the quest that it pushed me on to say, I want a cycle break. I don't want to repeat patterns. I don't want to carry the wounds. I don't want to pass on the wounds. I want to do better for him and for me. And that has led me to where I am today.
I just love you more now.
Thank you. Yeah.
This is probably why we dropped in so quickly, because when my mother died was when I think I really dropped to my knees.
Mm-hmm.
And so your son's soul coming into the world brought you God.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's soul leaving the world brought me God. And it's that cycle, and realizing that we are whole and complete, lacking nothing.
Yeah.
And from that seed of the sacred, we get to create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know we're going to move into duality, and this may be a good transition point, because there is a high achiever narrative. Do more, bigger, better, more, hustle, put your head down, work hard. And then there's this whole other side of the coin, which is this heal narrative, which is that we don't have to do anything, that we can just manifest, that we can just pray our way into existence. And you run a very, very, very successful business.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of zeros. And
zeros.
Yeah. I know. I think it's important to say that, because there are people who are in the high achiever space that think that you can't heal, because if you heal, then you're going to take away your ambition. Mm-hmm. And then there's people in the healing space that think ambition is wrong. And I think we have a responsibility with our divine assignment to integrate them. I think the human journey is integration. And I think we have skills, we have talents, we have gifts that we are supposed to bring to this world to help serve each other and humanity. And if we don't use those skills because we think ambition is wrong, then we're not using our healing gifts. But you can also heal and be ambitious. So I want you to speak to that, because you are integrated in that way.
I have to, like, this is like so good. Okay. So what you're saying is quite literally was pretty much the context of the whole program that I just finished running called Identity Ascension. And so I want to speak to what you're saying in my words, like how I'm hearing what you're saying. So how I distinguish this is that when we're in our doing ambition, that's the masculine aspect of us, right? And so when I say masculine, feminine, it's like, this, but just for people listening, like we all have both masculine, feminine aspects to ourselves. Like every human being has that duality. Men have both and women have both. And when we're in our ambition, in our drive, that's the masculine out, the masculine, and the healthy masculine is out in the world producing, driving, creating. The feminine aspect, the healthy feminine, and I'll distinguish the healthy, unhealthy in a second. The healthy feminine is that divine receivership. Like I've done my part, cause, now I get to receive effect. So cause and effect is the law of laws. It's the law of the universe. Nothing in the universe exists without cause and effect. When we go into I call it the fractured masculine or the unhealthy masculine, that's like ego driven ambition at the cost of everything. So it's like a very, it's not like the sacred masculine that I'm out hunting, gathering for my family to come provide. It's, I have ego. I'm in anger. It's in domination, in anger, and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of what you see in the world is when we're in the masculine, we're seeing a lot of fractured masculine. And then on the flip side, Stace, the fractured feminine is how I relate to much of the healing spiritual community is that whole. If I sit here and rub sticks together and sing kumbaya and menstruate and masturbate, somehow I'm going to bring in the things that I want in life. Okay. So there's no understanding of cause and effect. So the fractured feminine is sort of the damsel in distress waiting for someone to come save her. The fractured masculine is like doing from ego. The healthy masculine is I'm out creating in the world in our divine assignment. And the healthy feminine is I feel safe to receive. Okay. So my view of success, life, creation, like creation as a whole, biblically, is you need both the masculine and the feminine. Nothing in the universe is created with only one of the polarities. So when I'm only in my hustle, I'm in that fractured masculine. If I'm I'm just waiting on a cocoon to receive, I'm in my unhealthy feminine, because those two things cannot happen without the, like you said, integration of both. So I think all entrepreneurs that I've worked with, well, I'll speak to the women that I call into my world, tend to be very type A, high achieving, ambitious women. So they're very in their masculine. They're both in their healthy masculine and unhealthy masculine. And what the problem is for them, and this was my own assignment too, was I had no flipping clue how to receive. I was like, what do you mean, do just receive now? What do I need to do to receive? It's like, oh no, you don't need to do to receive, you just receive. It's like, that doesn't make sense. What do I need to do to receive? Like, it's like this was the thing. And so the biggest part of my transformation, Staci, over the last, I would say this piece right here has been maybe the biggest body of work that I have personally done in the last 2 to 3 years, has been surrender, faith, receive. Strengthening that divine feminine, because the masculine in me is always strong. Like my initial, like I think you and I talked about this, like I'm like a thoroughbred. You brought this analogy up and my number 2 loved it. She's like, I'm like a thoroughbred that's at the gate chomping at the bit to run. Okay. So my assignment in life is to chill the fuck out. It's to actually go, okay, have I done the cause of the effect I desire? Yes. Now what is there to do? Receive. For some people, it's not, but it's, wait, I've not been doing the cause of the effect I desire, so I need to go do that. But I need to do that from alignment, not from hustle, grind, ego, wounds, not enough, not good enough, proving energy. I just have to understand what is the cause of the effect I desire. Let's say if the effect I desire is making more money in my business, the cause of that is having an offer to sell. Period. Right? So, okay, I've got to go create the offer. So it's, I think a big part of this duality that exists in us constantly is finding the dance in the integration of that masculine feminine energy, and recognizing where we tend to wobble or teeter more in one direction. And from the women that I work with, it's always pulling back a bit and trusting that it's safe to actually do nothing. It's kind of like we were saying, the power in the pause. Like for me, Stace, I was not raised where it was safe to be idle. So when I was resting, I wasn't fucking resting. I was like stressing about resting. And I think that, you and I could speak more to this, but like, then I think God handed me, I know I call them shit sandwiches, because when you're not listening to the divine, you get, the universe will bring you more and more and more stuff to show you where you need to stop and listen. So for me, it was like burnout, PTSD, like all kinds of things that were so extreme where I had no choice but to learn to rest. That makes sense?
Yes, absolutely. You're saying it so well, because it is integration. It's cause and effect. And if you lean more towards just receiving and waiting and go with the flow, then you're not actually putting deposits in that are going to create that effect. Yeah. And then if you're all in the doing, you're not creating space to receive. My motto because I tend to be more type A, more driven, more ambitious. And so my motto for myself is surrender is the strategy.
I have surrender written tattooed on my arm. If you can.
Oh, no. Yes.
Okay. Yes. So that was a reminder. Surrender is the strategy. That's so good.
And I'm curious for the people that tend to be more like go with the flow.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Okay. So, this is a big part of the identity ascension work that I do. So how I frame it, and I think this might actually really anchor into people listening, because if you're anything like you and I, especially if you're very analytical, strategic, you dominate more in the masculine structure of understanding things. My training is in neuroscience. So like for me, it was always like, okay, what's the science behind this, right? So even energetics is a science, but like when I see people teach energetics from a very ungrounded place, like it never landed for me. So here's how I describe what you're asking. So I look at someone's nervous system, okay? And when you think about the mind and the nervous system, so the mind is both the conscious subconscious mind, and then the nervous system is how your body has been conditioned to react. So both our mind and our nervous systems were programmed prior to the age of 7. Okay. And so when I look and work with people, I look at what's their dominant nervous system. So there's 4 kinds of nervous systems. I'm sure you've heard about it, but I'm just going to put it here for people. There's fight, there's flight, there's freeze, and then there's fawning. So fight is clear that when someone is triggering that person, they will fight back. Their initial reaction is like it's very forward, in your face, fight, fight, fight. The second is flight or flee. So if they're triggered, they run away. This is the avoidant personality. The freeze response is literally deer caught in headlights. So this person has typically had a lot of trauma in life, and when things happen, their whole body and nervous system freezes. Like they're like a deer. I don't know if you've ever seen a deer in nature. Like if they think they're about to get caught, they play dead. And then the fawn response is a more newer. It's the 4th most newest one that was researched, is the people pleaser. So that's the person that in their family system, it was like they had to keep the peace with everybody. So they're always like needing to be liked, needing to be nice, fawning, just to get their need met, to feel safe. So they're all safety strategies. So I literally ran through this in my program, and people were like having such breakthroughs because they never heard it described this way. So think about it like this, Stace. What kind of nervous system do you have, by the way, when I say fight, flight, freeze, or fawn?
I'm all of them at different times.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes, we are all of them at different times, but we're usually one predominantly.
Ooh. I would say I lean more towards probably fawn, which is the people pleasing. Yeah. Like I'm very good at adapting to circumstances and people, and creating solutions and problem solving, which is probably what makes me a great entrepreneur.
Much so. There's such a productive aspect to all of them. But then there's also a very unproductive aspect, right? So when we people please and self-betray or self-annihilate.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just run through this for the example. So if you're a fight response, so you're not, if you're like, let's say in conflict with your partner or a client emails you and like your first natural instinct is to like write a scathing email back. Like, so that's my natural inclination is to fight. And it's protective because it was like, if you think about it, it's like the only way that the child knows to protect themselves. And I would actually say I play between fight and flight. So I want to fight and then I want to run away. So my nervous system in both of those, I have a hyperactive sympathetic nervous system. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm always like one foot in, like my friends growing up used to call me the runaway bride. They were like, she's got one foot in and one foot out. Like even in my marriage, I still have to like be like, Adele, like it's just stay safe. Like you're okay. Like you don't have to run away because of conflict. So I always had it that conflict meant run away or conflict meant fighting. So my nervous system is very wired to be hyperactive. Okay. The freeze response, that person's nervous system is too much in the parasympathetic. They're literally frozen. And then the fawn response, I would say, is a hybrid of both. So why is this relevant? I'm wired fight or flight, which I would say is predominantly how most entrepreneurs are. You'd probably agree. Like that's what makes you driven and ambitious and like go, go, go. So when I'm working with people that already naturally are up here, settling the nervous system to feel safe to receive and actually safe to rest and digest is actually the work. When I'm dealing with someone who's frozen, which I literally in my last program, it was so powerful to see, or maybe a handful of them that were like, oh my God, I can totally see how I just freeze. So then I'm not working with them to keep frozen. I'm actually activating their nervous system to get up and go. Make sense? Yeah. So it's like actually go move your body, go shake your body, go do some, I call it expression work, go like do some breath work, do something that's going to stimulate your nervous system versus the fawn. And then with the fawning, why I think it's a hybrid of both, because the fawn is people pleasing because it's terrified. So there's like a frozen aspect, but they're still moving. So I think it's about recognizing in that moment as a fawn response, it's like, okay, checking in, it's like, do I need to move or do I need to anchor and stay rooted? So I give different tools and strategies and tactics and exercises to be like, for someone like me, I don't need more good. I need, you're safe, right? So I don't, hopefully that answers your question. So it's like for people listening, it's like really being like, where do I mean, we're all things all the time, but we're predominantly one or two things. And then it's recognizing that all of those things are protective because the child in you doesn't feel safe. So what is going to be most nourishing for that aspect of yourself, that, like, I call it the wounded inner child? Like, does she need you to go take a walk in nature? Does she need to scream? Does she need to just like meditate and breathe? Does she need to anchor into her body? Like, what does she need? What does he need?
I'm curious. So getting the awareness that all of us have a nervous system, one, because if you're stuck in logic land, you're like, don't listen to your intuition. Don't just override, push harder, 75 hard, like just go, go, go.
75 hard makes me so mad. The program itself, because like good for Andy Frisella, like it's great. But yes, go on.
So there's that extreme. That's that's the dysfunction of the high achiever.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's one of the ways that we get trapped. And I've been that person. I've done 75 hard multiple times. And I've been that person. And I call it being locked in logic land.
Yeah.
You are your mind, but we're not. We're mind, body, soul, and spirit. And so when we're locked in logic land, we're only identifying with the tabs in our head, which is completely sucking the oxygen out of our body, which is the vessel and vehicle that helps us do anything or live life. And, you know, the Bible says he breathed into us the breath of life.
Yeah.
And so every single one of us has divine DNA in every single one of our cells. And we literally inhale and exhale it every single day. It's what keeps us in motion.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the first hurdle is acknowledging that our nervous systems are even trying to speak to us, and it's our alert system. And there's nothing wrong with the alerts that it's giving us.
Yeah.
Like you said, anxiety, depression, all of these things, even drinking, smoking, drugs, porn, all the things that people cope with, coping is just a signal that you're trying to regulate.
Yeah.
And the way you're coping is choosing these things that are numbing your nervous system.
Yeah.
And the invitation is to stop numbing and to actually sit with what the nervous system is trying to communicate to you, and then discern what it is that it's trying to communicate, so you know how to support yourself.
Yeah. And I think I just want to speak to something you're saying that's brilliant. The word discernment is maybe the most important word that I talk about. And I think it's the most important word in the English language. What is discernment? Discernment is moving out of reaction. So reaction is when you're in fight or flight, your limbic system is saying something's wrong, I have to protect myself. But typically the thing that's wrong is not actually what's in front of you, Stace. It's what it's signaling to your mind based on your past.
Yes.
It's like when you get an email and you lose your shit about that, you're not even fucking losing your shit about the email. What you're losing your shit about is that the email makes you feel insignificant. The email makes you feel not good enough. The email is triggering a time in childhood when someone got mad at you and you felt abandoned. That's number one. People listening to this need to get, you're never reacting to the thing, but the story that you have about the thing. Like, if you're a 45-year-old person losing your shit at Starbucks because the barista got your order wrong, you have to take a minute and go, that's not what I'm mad at. I'm mad because I never feel heard. I never felt heard as a kid. So now when I go to Starbucks and they get my order wrong, I'm mad because I don't feel heard. So my literal inner child or teenager in me, those 2 points, are acting out. And the problem with the world at large is that we're often just in reaction from that wounded place. When we mature and we do the work and we heal those parts of ourselves and we come into more truth, we get into what you said, discernment. And discernment is the muscle that says, or like the construct that says, I'm overreacting here. What am I actually upset about? I'm not upset that Staci said that to me. I'm upset because I make that mean I'm a bad person or I've done something wrong, which triggers my shame message. We could go all and on. We can go on and on, Stace, forever. Like it just like spirals down. So discernment, the thing I wanted to say that you said was so brilliant. And 75 hard is actually just a great reflection, because I think that 75 hard is perfect for the individual who has no ability to honor their word to themselves. So when I work with a client and they're like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't honor my word. Then I, with that client, am like, okay, great. Our first order of business is getting you into a better relationship with integrity. So we're going to create 3 things each day that you're going to commit to doing. And we're going to do that for X amount of time to build the muscle called integrity. Okay. Which is, I would say, to be honest, 90% of the battle for people is just honoring their word.
Yes.
However, someone like you and me, I'll speak for myself, but I'm assuming you're similar. I do not have a problem honoring my word. All I do all the live long day is fucking honor my word. So 75 hard is like adding more masculine, structured, go energetics on top of a person that already is hyper dominant there, which leads to what? Burnout. I don't need 75 hard. I need 75 soft.
I just love this. I actually did 75 divine discipline is what I called it. Yeah. Because it's like 75 soft. I honor my word to myself. I make and keep promises to myself, which is how we restore our confidence.
Yeah. Yes. So 75 soft or 75, like, I don't need to be like, read 10 pages and do 10 push-ups. It's like, bro, I'm at the gym every morning. Like I don't need more masculine structure, because that's actually how I armor up and feel safe. I'm incredibly uncomfortable in the leaned back position. Oh, so guess what? I need to do that more. We're conditioned, Stace, and I think you would agree, like I see this with all my clients, like when I say you have to lean into the discomfort of whatever we're doing in the process, you see people getting so resistant. It's like, no, I'm not leaning into discomfort. Because why? That child aspect of us, most of us were conditioned to believe, run away from discomfort. Discomfort is a sign that something's wrong. And then you come into this work and you recognize, no, I'm uncomfortable putting my phone away. I'm uncomfortable not checking email. I'm uncomfortable taking the day off. I'm uncomfortable. Okay, so my growth is in that place of discomfort. My growth is not in doing more, because I can do more all fucking day long. Like 75 hard for me is easy. But what's not easy is taking a month off. And we can talk about like taking structured, intentional breaks where, guess what? You can't talk to me. I can't manage my team. I can't micromanage this. I've got to trust in the divine. I've got to trust in God. I've got to trust in the universe. Like, oh my God, I'm feeling so anxious today. I want to reach out to someone and talk to them. No, I can't. Like, that's my work. And I think that most people listening to this, if you're a founder, an entrepreneur, you probably don't have trouble doing. It's about flipping to leaning into the discomfort of, it's safe to rest. Rest is productive. Rest is restorative. Rest is creative. God speaks to you in a quiet voice, not in a loud thrashing voice. And you can only hear the quiet voice when you're quiet. When you're in the hustle of your day, you're not that's not when God is communing with you or the universe. When you're in that, when I'm out in nature and I'm out on a walk, or I'm just sitting at the beach, like that's when I'm getting like that very loud, like divine understanding of what's next. And so I think it was rewiring my belief system that, number one, rest was productive. And so now when I schedule my days, weeks, months, years, like I was saying to you before we press record, since the summer of 2023, which is the summer that I was healing from PTSD, which is a whole story for another day, I was working with an EMDR and other kinds of therapists for the PTSD. And I was, the prescription was I could not work. So I was forced into rest, which I think is the case for a lot of people. And it was the most uncomfortable month of my entire life. Like I was crawling out of my skin. I was like, and my therapist was like, all you're allowed to do, so you're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to talk to your team. You're basically not allowed to schedule anything. You're just going to wake up in the morning. I had a few journal prompts to see what was there for me. And then I was just flowing with the day. The first 2-3 weeks, I was like, I was like in an insane asylum. But then by week 4, I was like, this is fucking awesome. So now this is my 3rd summer that I take August off, and I am like chomping at the bit. I can't wait for no one to talk to me. Like I'm just, yeah.
This reminds me of a quote that Kim Kiyosaki shared with me. And it's, you decide with spirit and you implement with logic.
I love that so much.
And without the pause, we don't let the spirit communicate with us because we don't have the space to listen, because our monkey minds are going so quickly thinking we have all the answers when the answers are really outside of us. And I think people do experience this quite often. Like your best idea comes when you're in the shower. Yeah. Your best idea comes when you're driving in the car. That's like that micro moment of a pause. And so imagine taking an entire month off, or in my case, I took 6 months off and walked to the beach every day.
Wow.
And you are literally opening up your vessel to an ethereal EQ, not just at what we call EQ, but like an ethereal level of EQ that is trying to transmute through you.
Yes. When you said ethereal EQ the other day to me, I was like, that's so potent, because you know what I realized, to your point, like we take these micro pauses every day. You're in the shower, you go to the bathroom, you have a moment in the car, and that's when you're in this communion with the divine, but you might not even realize you're in the communion with the divine, but you are, because God does only speak to you through a quiet voice of intuition. And that intuition is masked when you're busy. And when I took the month off, and even last year I took the month off, it's like that compounded time and space compounds the wisdom that's flowing with and through you. And the other thing that's there for me, Stace, when I take these months off, is it's anchoring into a new level of trust with the universe or God. It's like I'm okay. Like I'm supported. I don't have to produce to be worthy of love, which is ultimately why high achievers do what they do. Most high achievers are like, I was raised to get love when I produce, when I perform. And I know that was true for me. Like get straight A's, be the best at this, be the best at that. And listen, my parents were amazing in that. When I think of what I got from my parents, like discipline and determination, like those are not bad qualities. Like a lot of people just even struggle to be disciplined. But it came, the flip side of that is we go into perfectionism or needing to perform to feel love and that. So when I take that sacred pause, I'm rewiring that. You say it yourself. I'm whole, perfect, and complete. And I say, and nothing has changed, but it's coming back to that truth in that sacred space where I'm not wiring performance equals love. I'm rewiring I am love. Like, period. I'm love just because I woke up this morning and took a shower. Oh, I'm love because I went for a hike. Oh, like, and so for me, the month off is so much more than just like a month off work. It is truly like a deeper connection with I don't have to do in order to be loved. If that makes sense.
Yes, it makes complete sense. And this was one of the hardest journeys for me. And I didn't do it once, I did it twice. I don't know about you, how you feel. Like, and I think I'm not even done. I think I'm going to keep doing this. This is like a daily practice.
Yeah.
But I remember getting a lot of my identity from my relationships. Mm-hmm. That was like my one, like first learning of like, oh, I need to be needed by other people to feel whole and complete and loved. Yeah. And so when you do the dog and pony show for you, then you'll love me.
Yeah.
That was like one learning. And then when I scaled a bunch of companies, I realized I created business codependency, which was, oh, I'm loved and validated and significant when my businesses are performing well. When my businesses aren't performing well, then I am inadequate, less. Yes. So I recognize this thing where the people pleaser is one side, which is we do it to people. And then there's this whole other side where we do it actually in this really interesting relationship with our businesses, with our revenue.
Oh my God. Yes. Big time. And I think to your point that when you say, I think I'm going to do this forever, I think that the business codependency as a business owner, that your business is, you're the brand. And it's something that I think you and I could continue to unpack. And I would even love to talk to you more about this at another time too. It's like when you're the brand and the results are like at a certain point, everything that I've produced in my business has been a result of me. It is so easy to become codependent with that because it's like stage one of business ownership. People are buying you. And then building a company is people are buying the result. So like like training other people to do what you do. So like it's actually they're buying the result. And it's easier to detach. I think in my mind, it's easier to detach from the result when it's not just about you. But when it's just about you, it's like, oh, if they're not buying, it must mean something about me. Or if they are buying, it must mean something about me. And so you become very codependent. And I think that this is my next level. I think when I said to you this August, I feel like this is my work, is to separate myself, like identity wise, from the results of my business. Because I definitely think I'm in a bit of that slippery slope, because we've done so well. But when something doesn't go well, it's easy to make that mean something about you. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely, because this has been my own evolution. And I want to share this right now
Yeah.
on this episode, and we can record another one
Yeah.
and share the wisdom as we're learning, because
Yeah.
my journey has been this. So there's the whole victim narrative. This is happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And most high achievers transcend that.
Mm-hmm.
And we get into the narrative, this is happening for me.
Yeah.
And there's a lesson in it.
Yeah.
And the next evolution
Yeah.
is this is happening, and that's the victor narrative.
Yeah.
So we go from the victim narrative to the victor narrative.
Yeah.
And then the third narrative is this is happening through me. And that's the vessel narrative.
Love that.
I am a vessel of the divine.
Mm-hmm.
He knit me together in my mother's womb. He had a divine assignment before my soul ever incarnated.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been shaping me and molding me and letting me go through the dark night of the soul so I could become the vessel that could carry the message that he has for me in the season of my life. Mm-hmm. And if people do not buy my offer, or they don't want me on their podcast, or they don't want me on this stage, they are not rejecting me. Mm-hmm. I am only a vessel. Mm-hmm. The Spirit told me, this is your divine assignment. And I said, who am I? Like, you got the wrong girl. And no, it's you. And then even how you and I met is because I don't work Fridays. Most Fridays I don't, or at least 2 or 3 days a week, I do not work. I don't have my screen. And one of those days is when I met a man named Giovanni, who you and I both know. And that's how I ended up in Austin at Top Secret, invited to Archangel Council, all of these things. Yeah. I wasn't looking for another mastermind. In fact, when he asked me to join, I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not about a mastermind.
Yeah.
I'm about helping people remember who they are.
Yeah.
And we are so stuck in the victor narrative, mm-hmm. which is, this is happening for me. What's the lesson in it for me? How do I overcome? How do I adapt? How do I navigate? Mm-hmm. And we're literally trapping ourselves there in this self-focus of, what am I missing? How am I getting it wrong? Let me just adapt. There's a Chinese proverb that said, the person who blames others has a long way to go. Mm-hmm. The person who blames themselves is halfway there. The person who blames no one has arrived.
This is profound. So tell me something. I love this. This is happening through me. And that's like the pinnacle of truth, right? And so when you don't get the sale, let's say, or the people aren't buying, or you're not invited on the thing, right? And you say, okay, well, this isn't about me. This is happening through me. But so explain to me then, if this is happening through me and someone is saying no, what does that mean in your view, when you think about it from that perspective?
Yeah. So this, I think, has nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing at all.
It just means it's not the right soul path.
Yeah, it's just not in alignment.
Not in alignment. It's actually protection.
It's protection.
That's what it's funny because I always say that to myself. Like when I say like, oh, this is protection. I'm not meant to go down there. Mm-mm. That's not the right client for me.
Mm-hmm. It's a protection. It's a redirection. It's an invitation. So when we were talking about nervous system earlier, I was reflecting recently, my motto to myself has been, the safest place for me to be is close to the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think the safest place for me to be is in my doing, in my mastermind, in my reading, in my working out, in my juicing, in my fasting, in my whatever.
Yeah.
And I call that spiritual bypassing.
That's what it totally is. It's just another avoidance mechanism.
Yes. And now, can you sit with the fact that person didn't buy your offer and be whole and complete, lacking nothing?
Mm-hmm. And just trust in the divine assignment of that in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe for people listening, there's a razor's edge between this is happening for me and through me. So like the jump between the victim, this is happening to me, and this is happening for me is a big jump for people. Mm-hmm. That's where I help people go from that to that. That to this is happening through me is maybe a very small nuance, because I had this is happening for me as this is protective. Like God is saying, nope, that's not it. It's a cool distraction. It looks like it, but it's not really it. And can you be in that discomfort of getting the no and not letting the ego make it mean something about you, but trusting the divine assignment in that? And I think that that's kind of that new, I love that distinction, Stace. I think that's so powerful around if it's happening through me, it's nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm.
To do with you.
I love that.
You're a gift. You're whole and complete, lacking nothing.
Oh, yeah. And I think when something I've been saying a lot to clients, and this has been a theme in my private clients this week, is like, I think the work is easy when you're well resourced, when you've had good sleep and you're feeling good about yourself and things feel like they're in flow. It's really easy to be like, oh, this is happening through me. I think when we're met with a lot of external resistance or internal resistance and we're not feeling well resourced and we're not feeling our best, it is so easy to forget the truth. And I think the work is, can I be resilient in my mind and thinking even when I'm not feeling well? I think that's where mastery comes in. It's like, okay, I didn't get a good sleep. I was in a fight with my partner. I had a blowout with a client, like whatever it is, this is happening through me, right? It's easy to say that when everything is unicorns and rainbows, but it's like the mastery is in the hard stuff.
Well, so in my work, usually business owners feel like they have a revolving door of people or they have a people problem.
Yeah.
And so the first evolution of that was you don't have a people problem, you have a process problem.
Mm-hmm.
So then we would install systems and that would solve 90% of it. And now I say it's not a people problem, it's not a process problem, it's a pattern problem.
Yes. Yeah.
And what I feel like you're communicating, and hopefully I can put words to it, is whether it's a positive pattern or a challenging pattern, it's still happening through you because it is your divine assignment to break the cycle. Totally. So if you are recognizing a dysfunctional pattern that your human is playing out, it's not about you either. It's about the pattern.
Totally. And I'm not my patterns. You are not your patterns.
You are not your patterns.
Yeah.
You're still in the seat of the sacred. It's when we over-identify with the pattern, it's like, well, okay, it must mean something about me that I got upset about that email. What if it means nothing about you? What if even your reaction means nothing about you? What if it's just the pattern and you're being invited to illuminate the pattern and transcend it?
Totally. That is the work. I am not my patterns. I am observing myself having a pattern, which in and of itself shows me that I'm not the pattern.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally. So I get where you're going with this, the through me. And I love that. I love that distinction. I actually think that's very powerful. That's very powerful for people listening, and even powerful for me in this next incarnation of myself and my business. It's like, whatever people do, it's nothing to do with me.
No.
And I'm always supported, guided, and protected. And I think leaning in, you said like the safest place to be is next to the Holy Spirit or God of your own understanding. It's like, like it's like trust and faith in God is not conditional. And I think we place a lot of conditions on it, or I know that I've placed conditions. So having this unconditional view of like, no matter what, it's happening because it's happening through me. It's all good. I'm supported. I'm guided. I'm protected. Staying in that truth really does elevate us to like God's realm of creation, that I like to call it, like where we sit in a different frequency. The victim frequency is very low. And this creator, Victor, I call it the creator frequency. The creator frequency is like, I'm in communion with the divine. I'm co-creating. And in order to co-create, I have to be at a very different frequency than that of guilt, shame, victim consciousness, etc.
Yeah. And as human beings, we're meaning makers.
Yes.
Right? And so we look for formulas because we want to create predictability, because predictability feels safe.
Yep.
And that goes back to all the nervous system work that you do, is the invitation is for us to transcend all of that. I say freedom is not having to know. And you get out of the rat race, right? But the rat race is still inside of us. We create problems just to solve the problem.
Yep. Have the t-shirt. I mean, that is a pattern in of itself that we can go down so many roads, but I absolutely love that the invitation and the next level, I think for all of us and for those listening, I mean, I think people are going to hear this at different levels depending on where they're at in their consciousness. For me, where I'm really hearing everything that we're talking about today is this idea that like I'm actually most protected closest to God. It's happening through me. It has nothing to do with me. And the last thing that you said there is freedom is not needing to know. And I think our need to know, to your point about the subconscious mind, needs certainty to know that you're not going to die. But when we transcend the mind, which, there's so many ways we can transcend the mind. Even just the awareness is transcending the mind. When we transcend the mind, we anchor into truth. That's when we're the most powerful and magnetic anyway, when we're in that flow. And I think for me, it's so funny. The next program that I'm creating is called Realm in the fall. And it's all about this whole conversation of living in that realm, like creating, it gives me goosebumps, like creating a new realm of possibility, creating a new realm internally, being in God's realm. What does it feel like to play in that place? Because when you look out in the world, that is not the truth out there. So how do I create that truth internally? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could just keep talking to
I
you.
know.
Good.
We have other things to do today. And other people do too. But I feel like we should have a part two because this was, I hope people really listening to this, like there's probably like so many juicy bits, even for myself, like, because I think that's the beauty of this work and the humility as a leader is to be like, we're always a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. So you're whole, perfect and complete, but you're always a work in progress. Like meaning for me, the work is how can I get closer to God? How can I get closer to God? How can I get closer to that truth? That's basically all of our quests. And so it's both being a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time, holding that. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this was beautiful. So much fun.
Oh, so fun. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
Instagram is the best. I answer all my own DMs. So it's at Adele_Tevlin, which I'm sure you'll link up. If this resonated, I'd love to hear from people. I always want to hear like what lands the most because it's so good for me to get that feedback. And I just love interacting with people on my Instagram. So that would be the best place.
Okay, well, we'll put that in the show notes. And everyone listening, we really, really hope that this didn't just touch your mind, but it actually pierced your soul. And we are inviting you to get back into the seat of the sacred, not the scared, and then build and create from there. And you will be a magnet for everything that you're searching for. So cheers, y'all.
Cheers, y'all.
Y'all. Bye.
Bye.